There is a city where extreme heat can push your body toward heat stroke, even when you're standing in the shade. But this same city can also be overwhelmed by floods powerful enough to swallow entire neighborhoods. This is Jacobabad, Pakistan. During the dry season, temperatures here can climb above 122 degrees Fahrenheit. The ground cracks beneath the heat. Hot winds sweep through the city. But when the monsoon arrives, everything changes. Rainwater surges into the city. Streets disappear beneath the flood. And suddenly, the same people who spent months trying to survive the heat are surrounded by water. Jacobabad exists between two extremes of nature. On one side, scorching heat. On the other, floodwater. So how do people build a life in a place where nature seems to give them no easy season at all? At first glance, Jacobabad's heat seems easy to explain. The sun is intense. The air is hot. And the temperature can climb beyond what most people ever experience. But temperature alone doesn't tell the whole story. Because the human body has its own cooling system. Sweat. As sweat evaporates from the skin, it carries heat away from the body. And in dry air, that process can work remarkably well. But when humidity rises, the rules begin to change. The air already contains more moisture. Sweat evaporates more slowly. And the body begins to lose one of its most important ways of cooling itself. This is why scientists also look at something called the wet bulb temperature. It combines heat and humidity to show how difficult it is for the human body to cool itself through evaporation. And Jacobabad has experienced conditions that push dangerously close to the limits of what the human body can tolerate. At that point, shade alone may not be enough. Drinking water may not be enough. Even a healthy person can begin to struggle if the exposure lasts long enough. And that changes the question completely. It's no longer just, how hot is it? It's, how long can the human body keep cooling itself? Because in Jacobabad, that isn't just a scientific question. It's a question people may have to answer with their own bodies. By midday, Jacobabad begins to change. The streets grow quieter. Fewer people stay outside longer than they have to. And places that were busy just hours earlier begin to empty. It isn't because the day is over. It's because the hottest part of it has begun. People look for shade. Shopkeepers retreat deeper inside their stores. Those who can postpone a journey, wait. Because every unnecessary minute outside means more time exposed to the heat. But a city cannot simply stop. Food still has to be bought. Water still has to be collected. People still have places they need to reach. And for many workers, staying indoors isn't really an option. So Jacobabad develops a different rhythm. The heat doesn't empty the city completely. It decides who can stay inside and who still has to step outside. And that difference matters. Because for some people, avoiding the hottest hours is a choice. For others, the moment they stop working is the moment they stop earning. Before the hottest hours even began, some families in Jacobabad are already thinking about water. Not for comfort, for the day ahead. Water is needed for drinking, for cooking, for washing. And when temperatures become extreme, the body needs even more of it just to keep functioning. But access to water is not always as simple as turning on a tap. Some families have to collect it, store it, and make sure there is enough to last through the hottest part of the day. That changes the value of something most of us barely think about. A container of water isn't just another household item. It becomes part of how a family prepares to survive the heat. And the hotter the day becomes, the more important every trip for water can be. But getting it means stepping back outside, into the same heat that makes the water so necessary in the first place. And for some people in Jacobabad, going outside isn't something they can simply avoid, because their income is waiting out there too. The streets of Jacobabad may grow quiet at midday, but some vehicles can't afford to stop. For a rickshaw driver, stopping means one thing: no income. Rickshaw drivers keep searching for passengers along roads burning under the sun. Shopkeepers stay open, even as fewer people pass by. Because for those who earn by the ride, by the customer, or by the day, not working means not getting paid. And that turns extreme heat into a difficult choice. Stay outside longer. And the body has to endure the heat longer. Stop working earlier. And there is less money to bring home that day. So workers learn to work around the heat. They stop when they can no longer continue. Find water. Find somewhere cooler. Then return to work when they can. Not because the conditions have become easier, but because the workday isn't over yet. For people who depend on daily income, the heat isn't just a weather problem. It directly limits the hours they have to earn a living. But what if the hottest hours of the day could be avoided altogether? What if part of the city simply waited for the sun to disappear? In Jacobabad, some work has to wait until the sun goes down. Tractor drivers may head into the fields at night, when the heat is no longer as punishing as it is at midday. Not because they want to work in the dark, but because working under the daytime sun can push the body toward its limits far too quickly. And when the sun disappears, Jacobabad begins to change. Streets that emptied during the hottest hours slowly come back to life. Shops open. People step outside to buy what they need. Children ride their bicycles. and families gather at open-air restaurants, where tables begin filling after dark and can stay busy late into the night. The city doesn't go to sleep early. It simply waits for the heat to ease. But those easier hours don't last. The sun rises again. The streets begin heating up again. And the things that cannot be moved into the night still have to be done. One of them is preparing food for the family. And to do that in the middle of an unforgivingly hot day. Someone has to stand in front of a source of heat even closer than the sun. A flame. Right inside the kitchen. Outside, the heat is already intense enough to make people search for a way out of it. But inside a kitchen, someone has to create even more heat. Every day, meals still have to be prepared. And when the temperature outside is already extreme, a cooking fire, hot pots, and an enclosed space can make that simple daily task far more punishing. In 2022, Reuters reported that a woman in Jacobabad collapsed after preparing lunch in a kitchen with no fan or air conditioning. Her family believed she had suffered heat stroke, although her cause of death was never officially confirmed. In Jacobabad, extreme heat can turn one of the most familiar places in a home into a dangerous environment. And the danger isn't limited to the streets. It can appear inside an ordinary task, repeated every single day. Knowing the heat is dangerous doesn't mean the work can simply stop. Meals still have to be cooked. Household work still has to be done. And adults aren't the only ones who have a daily schedule to keep. Every day, children in Jacobabad still have to go to school. But the danger isn't only in the time they spend inside the classroom. It's the journey they have to make on the way back home. A classroom may have a roof. But just a few steps beyond the school gates, children are exposed to the heat again. Those who walk home have to keep moving through high temperatures, while their bodies continue losing water. And the longer the journey, the longer the exposure. That's why school hours can be adjusted to reduce the amount of time students spend outside during the most dangerous part of the day. Some schools may also close when temperatures become too extreme. But those measures can't always remove the risk. Because once students leave the school gates, they still have to make it home. In 2022, a 12-year-old student in Jacobabad was hospitalized with heat stroke after walking home from school. An ordinary journey had become a medical emergency. But at least, as the day begins to end, the sun finally starts to set. After hours of enduring the heat, this should be the moment when the body can finally rest. But in Jacobabad, sunset doesn't mean the heat disappears. and when that heat remains trapped in the city long after dark. Even sleep can become part of the struggle. 10 p.m. The temperature is still above 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The sun has been down for hours. But the heat still hasn't let go of the city. After absorbing heat all day, many homes remain hot and suffocating. So some families carry their charpoys, traditional woven beds, outside into courtyards or more open spaces to sleep. At least there, they have a chance of catching a breeze. But there is an even more unusual story. There was a time when a donkey was used to power a fan inside a home in Jacobabad. The animal walked in circles, pulling a mechanism connected to the fan, just to create a breeze. The night in Jacobabad eventually comes to an end. But the body may not have had enough time to recover. After struggling through the heat all night, people have to step into another day. The temperature begins to rise again, and the body is forced to endure hour after hour of heat. Until, for some people, it simply can't take anymore. The body can lose its ability to control its own temperature and fall into a dangerous state of heat stroke. There are days when hospitals in Jacobabad have to set aside entire areas just for people overwhelmed by the heat. Temperatures outside climb above 122 degrees Fahrenheit, and heat stroke patients keep arriving. Doctors have to cool them down quickly, using water, wet towels, and fans. Severe cases may require intravenous fluids and continuous monitoring. Because heat stroke isn't ordinary exhaustion. When the body's temperature rises too high, internal organs can begin to suffer damage, and the longer cooling is delayed, the more dangerous the condition can become. During an extreme heat wave, hospitals may have to treat many of these emergencies at once. One patient arrives, then another. At this point, the heat is no longer measured by a thermometer. It's measured by the number of people lying in hospital beds. But after months of temperatures pushing people toward their limits, Jacobabad finally begins to receive something it has needed throughout the heat: water falling from the sky. At first, it can feel like relief. Rain hits the dry ground. The air begins to cool. Dusty streets turn wet. But the rain doesn't stop. The water keeps rising. Low-lying areas begin to flood. Water spills into the streets. And something people had spent every day searching for is suddenly everywhere. Jacobabad is about to move from a battle with extreme heat to a battle with water. Water was once something people in Jacobabad had to search for. Now, they have to run from it. Heavy rain continues to fall faster than the water can drain away. Streets disappear beneath it. floodwater pushes into neighborhoods and begins rising inside low-lying homes. Roads people use to get to work, reach the market, or take children to school are gradually cut off. Vehicles can no longer move through. Daily life begins to shut down. As the water keeps rising, families move their belongings higher. Food and other essentials have to be kept above the water. But if the flood keeps coming in, even the home itself is no longer safe. People are forced to leave and search for temporary shelter. After the floods of 2022, tens of thousands of people across the Jacobabad area were living in temporary shelters. A city that had just endured months of extreme heat was now watching people lose their homes to water. But even when the flood begins to recede, the crisis isn't over, because the water that has passed through streets, homes, and neighborhoods can carry contamination with it. Water can be everywhere. And yet, clean water to drink can become difficult to find. A city that once struggled to find enough drinking water now has to search for clean water right after being surrounded by it. The floodwater recedes, but what it leaves behind remains in the city. Mud covers the streets. Trash and waste are left scattered through neighborhoods. And water supplies can be affected. Even though people still need water every day for drinking, cooking, and basic household needs. The problem is no longer finding somewhere dry. It's finding water clean enough to use. When access to safe water is disrupted, gastrointestinal illness becomes another threat, especially for children. Diarrhea and vomiting cause the body to lose even more water. At exactly the moment when safe drinking water has become harder to find. And floodwater doesn't only affect what people drink. It passes through homes, food, and the places people rely on for everyday life. That makes basic hygiene difficult, even after the water has gone. So the streets may become dry again. But life doesn't immediately return to normal. Homes have to be cleaned. Safe water has to be found again. And people have to return to work. Because life still has to continue. But even then, the flood hasn't revealed all of its consequences. Some of the most dangerous things it leaves behind are small enough to go almost unnoticed. The floodwater may be gone, but the pools of stagnant water left behind create a new threat. They remain scattered around neighborhoods, in the same places where people still have to live their daily lives. Mosquitoes begin to multiply. And after the floods, malaria became a serious problem across Sindh, including Jacobabad. Children are among those especially vulnerable. It can begin with something as small as a mosquito bite. Then comes the fever. And if the illness becomes severe, Families may once again have to take someone to a medical facility. To reduce the risk, areas of stagnant water can be identified and treated. And in some harder-to-reach areas, even drones have been used to search for mosquito breeding sites. The flood has disappeared from the streets. But what it left behind can continue affecting people's lives. After everything they have endured, life in Jacobabad still has to go on. Not for just one season, but year after year. Through punishing summers and the continuing risk of extreme weather. So what is it that keeps people in Jacobabad? Leaving Jacobabad isn't difficult because people don't understand how harsh life here can be. The difficult question is, if they leave, how will they make a living? For many families, their livelihoods are already rooted here. The work is here. Their customers know them. Their families and relatives live nearby. Every day, they know where to go to earn money, where to get water, and how to provide for their families. Those aren't things you can simply load into a vehicle and carry with you to another city. And that matters even more for people who live on daily income. Just a few days without work can mean losing money the family needs. So leaving isn't simply about escaping the heat. It can also mean giving up the way you know how to survive. Floods have forced families from their homes in search of temporary shelter. But when the water receded, they came back. They cleared the mud from their homes, gathered what was left, and started rebuilding their livelihoods. Because this place may be dangerous, but it's a place they know how to live in. And if leaving Jacobabad isn't an easy choice, then how do people make a place this harsh? Somewhere they can continue to call home? Look closely at Jacobabad, and you see a city learning to change in order to survive. A home here has to face both extreme heat and floodwater. During summer, people look for the parts of the house that receive less direct sun. Shaded spaces become more important. And the way a home is used can change throughout the day. As families try to keep as much heat as possible from entering their living space. Then the rainy season arrives, and the preparation changes completely. Belongings have to be protected from water. Important items need to be kept somewhere safe, in case the water begins to rise. And each time extreme weather passes, a family learns a little more about what worked and what wasn't enough. They don't learn to adapt overnight. In Jacobabad, experience doesn't remain only in memory. Over time, it begins to change the way people use the very homes they live in. But every adaptation has a limit. A family can prepare better for the next season. What they can never know is just how harsh that next season will be. Perhaps you have to step away from the streets of Jacobabad for a moment. to see just how small we really are. From above, the city begins to shrink. Neighborhoods become patches of color. Roads become little more than lines. And the people we've followed throughout this journey almost disappear from view. Farther out lies the vast plain of Sind, Jacobabad, a place that can feel so large when you're standing inside it, now occupies only a tiny piece of that landscape. Human beings can build an entire city. But from far enough away, even that city is only a small point on the earth. And perhaps that's something nature has always reminded us of. We can build. We can adapt. We can try to take control of our own lives. But we cannot make the world around us smaller just because we want it to be. Perhaps human beings were never as big as we imagined. But there is something strange about us. Even when we are this small, we continue to survive in places that seem among the harshest of all. Human beings may be small in the face of nature, but there is something about us that is remarkable. We don't give up easily. When the environment changes, we find ways to change with it. When one way of living no longer works, we search for another. It doesn't always work. And we can't always control what comes next. But our instinct to survive keeps us searching for a way forward. Perhaps that's why human beings have been able to build lives in places that seem almost impossible to live in. Not because we are stronger than nature, but because we know how to adapt to a world much bigger than ourselves. And Jacobabad is a powerful reminder of that. A place that can make us recognize our own limits. But it is also at those limits that we discover just how resilient human beings can be. Not by defeating nature, but by learning to live with it and turning this place into a home. Perhaps survival was never a story about who is stronger. Perhaps it's about who can keep moving forward as the world around them changes. Thank you for joining us on this journey to Jacobabad. If you'd like to keep exploring how people live in some of the world's harshest and most unusual places, subscribe to the channel and join us on the next journey. Until then, we'll see you somewhere else in the world.